This is a 13 Weather Impact Alert.
Good Friday evening. I'm meteorologist Blake Hansen. Of course, today was a very warm day here at home, especially for only the 14th of March. Of course, as we go through later tonight, we've been talking about it for a few days now and really have ramped up the messaging today of a round of thunderstorms that will be developing later tonight into the early hours of tomorrow, and then the wind will really take over throughout our Saturday. Those will be not associated with any thunderstorms. Do want to focus on what happened today first before some people join in and we can start talking about the potential of stronger thunderstorms overnight. This was the look in Grand Haven today, one of my favorite time lapses cameras that we have, and obviously a nice blue sky. You can see the ice flowing away from the lakeshore, and that's all due to an offshore wind that was prevalent today. The wind was mostly out of the east-southeast, so definitely offshore, away from our side of Lake Michigan. There was the setting sun around 7:40, and now we are well into the late evening hours, past sunset by a good hour and some change. These were the high temperatures today across West Michigan, well into the 70s. Just to put this in perspective, our average high here in Grand Rapids, and pretty similar around West Michigan, sits at 44 degrees. Here in mid-March. This was 30 to almost 35 degrees above average. If you put that on the other side of things, if this was below average by 30 to 35 degrees, we'd be talking daytime highs only in the single digits, stuff that just doesn't happen usually in mid-March. This is about as warm as we can go this point of year. And in fact, Muskegon, 79 degrees, that is a new record high for the 14th of March. That breaks the old record of 77 degrees that was set on this day in 2012. For those that were here in Michigan, especially West Michigan, in March of 2012, that was one of our warmest months prospectively for a given month compared to average of all time. We set numerous records that March of 2012, so to break a record from that stretch is quite something. Look at Benton Harbor, 81 degrees. That's an average daytime high in the middle of summer. So this was a summer feel today, no doubt. Grand Rapids, Holland, Kalamazoo, just shy of record highs today. Those cities, the record high for the 14th of March is 80 degrees. That too set back in March of 2012. So just some impressive warmth today. These are the current numbers. We are still in the 60s, even around 70 degrees at the 9 o'clock hour. A lot of warmth around the Great Lakes region. It is funny this time of year. You can see some wild temperature contrast here in the state of Michigan. Look at Mackinac Island right now, sitting at 36 degrees. The Sioux only at 43. We're talking a 35 degree temperature difference here across the state alone. This has been all driven by a strong low pressure system, which we'll talk about in just a second. And this low pressure system, we're out ahead of it in the warm sector, is what we call it. All that means for you at home is that we have southerly winds, a southerly flow, and that's what's allowing this warm air to evect into West Michigan. Earlier, we had some pretty gusty conditions. Some gusts were approaching 40 miles per hour around 4, 5 o'clock in the late afternoon. The wind has somewhat diminished now as we're now past peak of daytime heating, gust only in that 20 mile per hour range, but we will see the wind ramp up tomorrow. In fact, some pretty strong winds as Saturday goes on. Let's talk about our severe weather outlook, and I think that's kind of the main focus here on this Friday night. This will be our first batch of thunderstorms of the year, of the season. There's a decent severe weather risk across the country ongoing right now. All of that shaded in dark red, eastern Missouri, a fair chunk of Illinois, and that even stretches back into parts of Arkansas, Kentucky, Tennessee, into Mississippi. That is a level 4 out of 5 risk, also known as a moderate risk from the Storm Prediction Center. So it's a rather amped up risk for severe weather, and there is severe weather ongoing right now. There's the low pressure system that's driving the bulk of this weather. It's centered between the Kansas-Nebraska state line. This is a strong low pressure system. That's why we've got so warm today. But out ahead of it with so much energy in our atmosphere, there are a fair amount of severe thunderstorms ongoing well to our south and west. These are the current alerts, the boxes you see on your map, what are shaded in kind of, let's say, a pinkish color up towards Iowa and even southern Minnesota, and then another severe thunderstorm watch just to our south and west across northern Illinois. Those are severe thunderstorm watches, and then the yellow boxes farther into the more the Tennessee River Valley into the deep south. Those are tornado watches that will be going through the nighttime hours. Here are some of the tornado warnings. If there are still a few ongoing, there were a couple earlier. There it goes. There's a tornado warning in the heart of Missouri. This is a confirmed tornado, in fact. So there are several tornado warnings ongoing, and all the polygons you see on the map here that are shaded with that purple outline, those are severe thunderstorm warnings. And some of these warnings, when they're shaded, when we have our box, our polygon shaded in purple like this, that's considered a considerable severe thunderstorm warning with the potential of winds 70 miles per hour. Now, a severe thunderstorm warning, if it's just a typical severe thunderstorm warning, wind gusts would be upwards of 60 miles per hour. So this is why this warning, this thunderstorm warning, has the tag of considerable attached to it, because winds are a little bit more than your standard severe thunderstorm warning. Let's get into it. So these thunderstorms tonight will continue to race to the north and west, really more of a west-northwest direction. So there are the thunderstorms ongoing right now. This is our model that's projecting what will happen tonight. And it'll take still some time before these thunderstorms knock on our doorstep. I think it's going to be right around 2, 3 in the morning that they'll start to reach the southwest corner of the state. Here's the thing, while there's ongoing severe weather right now, as the night goes on, we lose instability in our atmosphere because, well, it gets cooler at night. So you start to lose a little bit of steam for these thunderstorms to be on the severe side. And that's what is going to happen for the most part tonight as these storms reach West Michigan. They will start to lose instability, their energy, and not be as prone to be on the severe side. Now, having said that, I think there'll still be enough momentum of these storms to provide a low-end severe weather risk for some of us in West Michigan. So this is around 2, 3 in the morning. This is going to be the middle of the night. Storms on our doorstep, and they will really become widespread in that 3 to 5 a.m. time frame, middle of the night. And I definitely think you can see in this particular model here, and this is a high-resolution model, that the best potential for some of these stronger storms, maybe even a severe one or two, will be generally southward of Holland. I think if you're watching from Holland, Saugatuck, South Haven, Kalamazoo, and then places towards the state line, that's going to be the better potential for these storms to pack somewhat of a punch, because as they start lifting farther north and eastward into West Michigan, such as Grand Rapids, Muskegon, Ionia, and places, we'll say north of I-96, yeah, the energy is going to really take a tumble, and these storms will just be more run-of-the-mill than anything else. Notice by 8 in the morning, this is daybreak tomorrow, these storms are well out of here. So this is only going to be about a 4-hour stretch where we'll have the potential of some storms coming through. Now, I think the bigger thing is that when we have these thunderstorms come through in the middle of the night, it's just one of those nights with the severe potential. You just want to have that extra awareness that you might wake up and there could be a severe weather alert ongoing. But once we get past daybreak tomorrow, we actually dry out much of Saturday, at least through the midday hours, and we might even peek out a little bit of sunshine. So in terms of our threat, we showed the big moderate dark red risk that's to our south and west. This is a better look at what's the risk in West Michigan. And again, places south of Holland, really Saugatuck to Kalamazoo, back to the state line, that yellow shading is a level 2 out of 5 risk for severe weather from the Storm Prediction Center. That's going to be the better opportunity for some stronger storms, especially with some damaging winds, maybe upwards of 60 miles per hour. And there's also enough wind and maybe rotation still ongoing in these storms that a spin-up tornado can't be ruled out. I don't think that risk is large by any means, but there are still enough ingredients in play for the low-end potential of a quick spin-up tornado towards the southwest corner of the state. That would include South Haven, towards Kalamazoo, towards Benton Harbor, for example. Really not expecting that spin-up risk farther north and east towards Grand Rapids, towards Muskegon, and places to the north and east. So for the rest of West Michigan, away from that yellow shading in dark green, that's a level 1 out of 5 risk, a marginal risk. So the risk definitely is a little bit lower as you go farther north and east through West Michigan. Our risk right now, I think wind gusts would be the main concern. With any storm that could be on the stronger side. And even if they don't reach severe potential, if they're just somewhat on the stronger side, we could still see some wind gusts with these storms in the 40 to 50 mile per hour range, still enough to pack a little bit of a punch. Hail is of lower risk. I wouldn't be surprised some hail develops if these storms are a bit stronger. And there it is, that low-end tornado risk that's mostly positioned towards the southwest corner of the state. Really, as tomorrow goes on, once we get past this severe weather risk, it's going to be all about the wind. And this is a sampling of the wind come tomorrow morning. So the storms are out of here, and then that low pressure system continues to lift northward, and we're going to really see the wind ramp up tomorrow out of the south and west. And you can see here 40 to 50 mile per hour wind gusts look extremely likely. I think the thing with tomorrow is if we could achieve wind gusts that are maybe closing in on 60 miles per hour. So those are some very strong winds. Obviously tomorrow is the weekend, a lot of out and about events going on. There's Irish off Ionia in Grand Rapids. I believe the Muskegon pub crawl for St. Patrick's Day is tomorrow as well in Muskegon. So there's going to be some impacts felt tomorrow with these winds. That definitely will ramp up for about a 6-hour stretch. I think roughly between 10 in the morning tomorrow through 4 in the afternoon. That would be our greatest potential for these strong wind gusts, and then we'll start to see the winds diminish a little bit Saturday night to the point where a wind advisory will come to an end. And there it is. There's the wind advisory from the National Weather Service that actually kicks off in the middle of the night, and then will go all the way through the end of Saturday evening, at least by mid-evening tomorrow. So we got a lot of different factors in this forecast over the next 24 hours with the wind or with the storms and then the resultant wind. So from the weekend, if we put this in a nutshell, we're still near 70 tomorrow. I kind of want to get this lost in the sauce a little bit, is that while it was warm today, very warm, it still will remain warm for March standards tomorrow, 60s to near 70 degrees for most. I think the only exception to that will probably be right along Lake Michigan. That wind's coming back on shore a bit out of the south and west. So our immediate lake shore might struggle to be around 60 tomorrow. But if you're a few miles away from the lake shore and farther inland, it's going to be another warm day. We do have another opportunity of storms late tomorrow. I want to show that right here. Let's get to my better map here. This is, there it is, 11 in the morning, 1, 2, still dry. And then notice a little bit of a flare up in storms east of 131. So there will be a secondary opportunity tomorrow late in the day for a few more thunderstorms. It's not out of the question another round of maybe a stronger storm or two develops with this late day opportunity. And then we just have the opportunity of standard rain showers Saturday night as some colder air starts to rush in. So a lot of moving parts over the weekend, especially into Saturday. Here's the thing, we know how it goes. The warmth isn't going to last in mid-March. We're not going to see consistent 60s and 70s now from here on out. And the bottom does fall out on Sunday. 40 degrees will be achieved at daybreak, and by the end of Sunday afternoon, we'll only be in the 30s. And it's not out of the question even some snow tries to mix in with a few wraparound showers. We're not going to have any accumulation, but still quite a difference between today, near 80 in some spots, and maybe a few flakes mixing in Sunday afternoon. So, of course, the weekend, there's definitely these impacts around the area. For those just joining us, it's about 9:15 here in the evening. If you're just joining in here, we're just having a simple conversation of kind of what to expect through tonight tomorrow, and there it is on Sunday, a bit colder. But yeah, these storms are really starting to fire up across parts of the Mississippi River Valley, or I should say really the Tennessee River Valley, up into the Missouri River Valley. That's where these storms are really firing up here on this Friday evening, and it's all associated with low pressure back towards Kansas and Nebraska. Big classic textbook type system with some colder air on the backside, snow developing in the Dakotas up towards central Canada in the Winnipeg area. So very widespread what's being felt from this storm system. And so there it is. There's the severe thunderstorm watches out towards our west. I don't think we'll see a watch be issued from the Storm Prediction Center here in West Michigan. Our threat's probably too low for that. But it is indicating that these storms right now are severe, and they will have the momentum to still be somewhat severe as they try to work their way towards our area by roughly 2, 3-ish in the morning. So there's just a kind of another look from a model standpoint, doing a pretty good job sampling where these storms are at right now and how they push their way into West Michigan through the middle of the night, and then really become across the area in that 3, 4 o'clock time frame. And again, I really do think that best severe risk is south of Holland towards Kalamazoo, back to the south and west. So that would mean southern Allegan County, Van Buren, Kalamazoo County, and then Berrien and Cass County at the state line. So that's our potential, what we're going to be just keeping tabs on as the night goes on. And then this is all out of here. It's that point of the year where we can introduce severe weather. Ironically, next week marks Severe Weather Awareness Week here in the state of Michigan. Not everyone does it. Not every community does it. There will be the statewide tornado drill next Wednesday. Here, our team of meteorologists here at 13 on your side, we're going to have stories and some explainers on severe weather each and every day. So it's just one of those things that as we are starting to push out of winter gradually and get into spring fully, this is what our focus turns to from impacts in the way of weather. It would be more in the way of severe weather. And we're getting a little taste of that potentially tonight. Definitely just something that we just need to be mindful of because of the timing of these storms in the middle of the night. Many of us will be sleeping at 3, 4 in the morning. There's the severe weather risk. You can see that shading of yellow. That's that level 2 risk. That's the better opportunity that these storms have enough strength still left over, still enough momentum in the middle of the night to provide a little bit of a punch and be on the strong to severe side. I really think the risk is going to diminish farther north and east of Grand Rapids and Muskegon. So the bulk of us in West Michigan will avoid severe weather, and those that are on the east side of the state, that light green coloring, that's just your run-of-the-mill thunderstorms. So even if we don't see severe weather tonight, which hopefully we don't, it still will be a little bit of a loud night. There'll be some thunder around, some quick heavy rain, possibly even torrential rain for a quick hour or two, and then this all lifts out of here by daybreak tomorrow. I do want to focus on one other thing, and this is the severe weather risk for tomorrow. I want to focus on West Michigan real quick. Notice I talked about those secondary thunderstorms late tomorrow evening, kind of after dinner time tomorrow. They might provide a small end risk of a stronger storm or two. That's generally south and eastward of Grand Rapids. So the bulk of us in West Michigan won't see anything severe tomorrow evening, but south and east of Grand Rapids, towards Lansing, towards the east side of the state, there is a better potential for maybe a storm or two to be somewhat strong. But the bigger thing out of this all, and I'll try to get back to it here, and this isn't for us in West Michigan, but it's down in the deep south. What's happening tomorrow is that the severe weather outlook will increase even more to the point where the Storm Prediction Center has issued a pretty rare high risk across the heart of Mississippi and Alabama. We call this, there's Tornado Alley in Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, Nebraska. This down in the deep south is also known as Dixie Alley. It's a secondary area that it's very favorable for tornadoes, especially early on in spring, late winter and early spring. And this is going to be something to really, a lot of meteorologists are going to be focusing on tomorrow, especially for those down in the deep south. A level 5 high risk from the Storm Prediction Center isn't taken lightly. They only issue a couple, perhaps a year. There are some years that a high risk doesn't even be issued. So for a level 5 out of 5 risk, there's definitely a lot of concern from the forecasters at the Storm Prediction Center that there could be quite the severe weather outbreak tomorrow. In fact, some of the language being used from the Storm Prediction Center is that there could be numerous tornadoes tomorrow in Mississippi and Alabama, perhaps strong, long track tornadoes, possibly EF3 or greater strength. So that's definitely something that rings the alarm bells. The last time, there are sometimes in the past where there's been high risk down here, and they definitely have come to fruition. One of the main ones goes back to the 2011 super outbreak, not necessarily saying that's what's happening tomorrow, of course, but definitely a lot of attention down in Alabama and Mississippi with this high risk, level 5 out of 5. We're going to go back one more time. It's 9:21. Don't want to sit here too much longer, but if you're just joining in over the last few minutes or so, what a warm day it was. Temperatures really soared into the 70s today. This was more than what we were even thinking. I wasn't going to be surprised if some of us hit 75 or so, but to see 79 in Muskegon, yeah, that definitely overachieved our thinking by several degrees, and that's 79 in Muskegon for those watching. That is a new record high for the 14th of March. That breaks the old record from 2012. This is about as warm as you can get here in mid-March. Those 70s to near 80 degrees. This is one of the warmest mid-March days you can ask for. Temperatures still warm this evening. In fact, tonight temperatures only fall into the 50s. On average, nighttime lows here in mid-March still fall into the 20s. So this is a very out of the ordinary night ahead of us temperature-wise, and then we'll still remain warm a bit into tomorrow. The wind is not as strong as it was earlier today, but I do want to say the thunderstorms tonight could present some wind, but once those are out of here, the wind will take over that isn't associated with thunderstorms, and I think easily 40, 50 mile per hour wind gusts are looking likely tomorrow. I think that's a given, at least at this point of the forecast. It's just a matter of, can we achieve even greater wind gusts tomorrow? And some of the model data is definitely indicating that we could see 50 to 60 mile per hour wind gusts for a few hours tomorrow afternoon. For those that are really into weather, you might be asking, well, why isn't the National Weather Service office here in Grand Rapids issuing a high wind watch, a high wind warning, I should say. High wind warning would mean gust over 55 miles per hour for more than a 3-hour time span, and I think that's where we stop the confidence. I just don't think there's enough confidence right now that we'll see that magnitude of wind for over 3 hours. I think we might have some periodic gusts in the 55, 60 mile per hour range, but not necessarily for that long of a duration of time. So that's why they're kind of holding back on the high wind warning compared to the wind advisory that they have ongoing, or will have ongoing late tonight through pretty much most of tomorrow, at least the daylight hours. So it's one of those things that if you have anything in the yard that's not tied down, you want to bring it in or tie it down, because that's going to be not in your backyard anymore after the winds come through tomorrow. So that's really the thing to just be mindful of. Yeah, I think that's, one of the biggest things that we're going to be focusing on here through tonight is just how the orientation of those thunderstorms go. Those are the numbers, obviously, tonight through tomorrow. 50s tonight, back into the upper 60s to around 70 tomorrow. And it's all about some of these thunderstorms coming through late tonight into the daybreak hour tomorrow. You can see it's a quick motion in a southwest and northeast fashion. So these won't be long lasting, but for those that are south of Howland, there's the better opportunity for a few stronger storms. That's what we got here on this Friday night. Hope everyone enjoyed the warm weather today. Definitely a bit out of the ordinary. No doubt to see 70s this early in March. Well into the 70s, almost near 80. That is a summer feel for sure. We'll have a full forecast at 11 o'clock. Myself and Julie Gorman, we're going to be talking about what's ongoing at 11 o'clock and how close those storms are that are currently ongoing to our south and west, where they're at, and our latest thoughts on the severe weather risk. And then through tonight, myself and meteorologist Amber Twardy, we're going to have you covered if there are any stronger storms. Again, I don't think the risk is extreme by any means. I think that for many of us, these storms will remain sub-severe and stuff you won't remember by tomorrow as the day goes on. But just enough out there, just enough ingredients still present in West Michigan to provide that severe weather risk later tonight. All right, I think that's about it. We're going to wrap it up here. Just a quick little talk about our weather into the weekend. Hope everyone has a great rest of their Friday evening, and we'll talk to you if we have to as the weekend goes on. Have a great weekend, everyone.
This has been a 13 Weather Impact Alert.